Come take my hand and see the world around you. The time is right, just let the light surround you. And step by step you feel it coming alive, the feeling deep down inside.
The best memories are made when you take the road less traveled. Visit wanderingbutnotlost.com for some inspiration.
In today's Wandering Zen, we explore the work of the inspirational architect Paul Revere Williams. His moniker of Architect to the Stars was well deserved, but his other creations helped form the feeling and vision of his time. And by the way, he was African American, and one of the first African American architects that really got major prominence in the United States, and was a part of the American Institute of Architects. Very interesting. He had a lot of things to overcome, a lot of things to break barriers on, because he was African American in architecture, which was really just a white man's world. He and what was her name from Hearst Castle? Morgan. Oh my goodness. I think her last name was Morgan, who was the first woman in California to become an architect. Kind of did their thing all around the same time in the early, early 19th, 20th century. I guess that's what it is. I always get that backwards.
Me too. I do too.
Anyway, we're going to talk about him today. Interesting. We're going to talk about things and sites that you will know. But I didn't know that he was the one that either designed them or redesigned them or renovated them. Yeah, it actually is pretty interesting. We were talking about our morning routine. Something I never, ever do in the morning, or very infrequently do in the morning, is turn the TV on. And a few weeks ago, I happened to turn the TV on, and I was having my coffee and yogurt, and I was cruising by, my normal routine, PBS, Smithsonian, Travel Channel, all of that, kind of looking for things to wander, or places to wander. And there was a documentary on this guy, and it was what caught my eye were these old classic beautiful homes in I would assume Beverly Hills, and it turned out to be a lot of them were in Beverly Hills, that were back in the 40s and 50s and 60s. And I started watching. I got it right towards the beginning. It was an hour show. I ended up watching the whole hour. It was fascinating to me, the work that this guy has done. So we're going to talk about Paul Revere Williams today on Wandering Zen. Go over to the show notes over at wbnlpodcast.com. I have information about him, a ton of links to specific projects that he did, as well as a short, 26-minute video that I found from a PBS. I don't believe it was the same documentary, but gives you a little background on this guy, because he really had a fascinating life. And you'll learn a lot about him over there, wbnlpodcast.com or wanderingbutnotlost.com. Paul Revere was a native Angelino. He was born in 1894, and his parents died when he was very young. So he was orphaned at age 4. Wow. Now, he had one brother. His brother and he were actually split up into separate homes. He was very, very fortunate. The home that he was placed into, the mother in particular, was very into the arts, very into education, and he grew up with that as really a staple in his life. And it really guided him and formed what he wanted to do with his future, knowing full well back in that time that, because he was an African American, he was going to have challenges along the way. As a matter of fact, when he was in school, he had written papers and he was talking about wanting to becoming an architect, and his teacher, or teachers probably, would always tell him that's something he couldn't do, or shouldn't do, or wouldn't be successful in. Well, I love this guy's stick-to-itiveness, because he's like, you know what, that's not going to work for me. That's what I want to do. And he had backing of his parents, or his foster, his new family. Yeah, and really, the things that he was able to accomplish in his lifetime during the age that he accomplished it were nothing really, to me, short of amazing. He landed internships right out of high school, took classes at the Los Angeles Beaux Arts School, which is a famous architecture and design school, and attended USC's School of Engineering. So dude was on a track, right? He knew what he wanted to do, and that's all there was to it. He because he knew there were racial challenges, that if people knew that he was an African American, that he would have a harder time or not be looked at when submitting designs at the top of the list, probably. So at the time, and they still do this a lot now, were a lot of architectural contests where they would throw out a contest and a lot of different firms would come in and submit their designs. Early on in his career, he entered a lot of these contests, and there's no race to that. There's just your name and the designs that you actually submit. And he won a lot of those contests.
Wow.
And he was able to gain notoriety and some recognition because of that.
Yeah.
And because what are you going to do? We love what the guy does, but we're not gonna go down the path for racial reasons. Now, no doubt that happened to him, throughout his career, probably a lot. But over the span of his career, he designed over 3,000 different designs: houses, tracts of homes, public spaces, public buildings, and just like I said, architecture that we're going to talk about that you're going to know and you're going to recognize. To a lot of them were really to my amazement. So 3,000 total, and over 2,000 just in the Los Angeles area alone.
Wow.
So prolific work that this guy did. And because he was very well spoken and was able to really handle himself among the powerful and rich and the Hollywood elite, he was able to really get into some of the inner social circles of Hollywood at the time, which I think is just, once again, it's just fascinating considering his background and what he was able to build. So talk about a positive mindset or growth mindset. This guy, I mean, he had it going on, right? So one of the first projects that he worked on, there was a senator in California at the time. His name was Flint. I think it was Frank Flint was his name. And who, I don't know if you're familiar with the area outside of Pasadena, but there's an area outside of Pasadena that's called Flint Ridge. And, back in those days, LA was nothing. There was nothing going on. Well, Flint decided he was going to build attractive homes out there for the, more of the elite type of clientele. And it ended up being called Flint Ridge. Well, Paul Williams was brought in to help design a lot of the homes in Flint Ridge. So I can't wait till the next time up in Pasadena to get in there and really kind of, because there are some of them that have been identified as his designs, and get in there and really see some of the homes that he designed that are still in that area. And that kind of thing went on and on. He would do a lot of work with producers and directors and movie stars along the way. And that's how he got his moniker of being architect to the stars. He worked with, Frank Sinatra, Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz, Lon Chaney Jr., Johnny Weissmuller, what was another one that was, Bert Lahr, and the list kind of went on and on and on from there. But he got in with the group. They shared their experiences with their friends, and he did a ton of homes in Beverly Hills and Bel Air and all just throughout the Hollywood Hills. There's Paul Williams architecture all over the place.
Oh, what time period? Like the
really
19...
It kind of goes, he really got out of school like in the 20s, but he was designing all the way up until he retired in 1973. So he did a lot of work, including his own home, which I need to get up and see. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Where he designed. Now, the thing that's unique about him, a lot of architectures have a particular design style that they design around. He had a really unique knack for being able to really sit down with the client, find out what they were really looking for, and then design the home around their needs, providing them the dream that they were really looking to achieve in their home, which, sounds like something that every architect would do. However, I think a lot of people choose an architect to the design style that they actually represent.
Yeah.
He kind of did it the other way around and was hugely successful because of it, because it would exceed the expectations of the clients every time. And that's why, talk about referrals. So this guy had referral business left and right because no two houses that he designed were the same. It's really fascinating when you really go in. I've done a lot of research on this guy, and I can't believe I've never heard of him before. Shame on me. I'm excited that I have discovered him because he's done so much. One technique that he learned to do, once again, this gets back, I hate to keep bringing the racial thing back into it, but for crying out loud, we have racial inequality today. So imagine what it was like back before things were as progressive as they are right now. He learned to draw upside down. So when he was with clients, because a
Oh,
lot of
wow.
people would be very uncomfortable sitting next to an African American gentleman, he learned to draw upside down so he could sit across the table from his clients and sketch what the designs were going
Wow.
to look like. And the documentary that I watched actually showed him, well, I don't know if it was him or not, but showed that the art of doing that upside down. And can you imagine doing that? I mean, it's really an amazing technique, but it worked very, very well for him. He kind of got to be known for that he was like the upside down engineer. So
That's cool.
interesting stuff. He did a lot of other public work kind of buildings. He did the courthouse in Los Angeles. He designed the first AEM or AME church here in Los Angeles. He was a part of the panel that designed Los Angeles International Airport and was very involved in the design work of that themed restaurant, which is that classic kind of spaceship looking thing in LAX. You see it in, it's iconic.
Yeah.
You see it in movies all over the place. Couple restaurants in Los Angeles, Chasen's restaurant in West Hollywood, which was the hotspot for Hollywood elite, and Perino's restaurant, which is down on Wilshire Boulevard. Those are both unfortunately gone now, but he designed those restaurants. Interesting fact that I, once again, need to go out and wander. Chasen's restaurant was torn down, I believe, in the 90s, maybe even in the 2000s. And there's a Bristol Farms there now. But the cool thing is, inside Bristol Farms, you know, Bristol Farms always has a little cafe. They saved part of the booths and the original restaurant inside that Bristol Farms, and it's his original design of Chasen. So cool stuff there. He was responsible for a lot of renovations of really classic major hotels. The Beverly Hills Hotel in Beverly Hills, you know, that classic kind of Art Deco-y, with that classic Beverly Hills Hotel script, which actually is his handwriting that made up the signage for that hotel. Cool thing, right? He didn't design the hotel, but he came in during a renovation. He was really responsible for a lot of the touches. The pattern that's there now, that's classically known for its floral kind of banana leaf style, which has remained all the way to today. He designed some of the bungalows. And as a matter of fact, I'm not sure what year this actually happened, but one of the bungalows was renamed the Paul Revere Williams Suite, which is one of the most popular suites in the hotel today. He did a renovation of the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. The Ambassador Hotel, which, you know, was iconic hotel for a lot of reasons. The Coconut Grove was there, which he was responsible for helping to do a redesign on. You know, that is the hotel that RFK was actually assassinated in. That hotel is no longer there either. As a matter of fact, a lot of Paul's work has been destroyed over the years. And there's a big movement right now to preserve a lot of the buildings and get historical landmark status to the buildings that he actually did create right now in Hollywood. So amazing stuff around the Los Angeles area. And I think you might enjoy this a little bit, Jan O'Brien. He did design the cathedral there right off of Desert Inn near the Wynn Hotel. The cathedral there in Las Vegas still stands today. That's a Paul Williams design.
Wait,
and
where?
It's right off of Desert Inn Boulevard next to the Wynn.
I don't know that.
Yeah, he designed that church. He also designed the La Concha Motel. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah,
it's that design that had the classic, really kind of googie, almost arches and stuff. Do you know? Of course, that is no longer in its original location, but you know where they moved that lobby? No. You're going to know this, and you're going to blow your mind. No. It is now the entrance and kind of the gift shop to the Neon Light Museum.
I think that sign is in the Neon Museum.
Yeah, so
sign from that hotel.
Yeah, and the actual where you walk in there is the building that he designed. They moved it, so.
That's on my list.
Yeah,
maybe I'm going to go there this
weekend.
Well,
we've been talking about that. So anyway, so it's something else to go there when you go to the Neon Museum. It's not just the Neon; it's also his building. And he did a lot of designs for things that never actually came to fruition. He did some of the design work for the Pearl Harbor Memorial in Hawaii, and he also did this really groovy design for a monorail system in Las Vegas back in the 1960s. It was called Skylift Magicab, and it is the coolest thing. You can see pictures of it over on the website. It didn't come to fruition because back in the 60s in Vegas, even though they knew that it was a growing community, they just didn't feel like the money it would take to build the monorail was going to be worth what happened. Now, today with the way the growth has been in Las Vegas, they have monorails all over the place to whisk people back and forth. So, way ahead of the time. He's done a lot of work in Las Vegas. As a matter of fact, there's a couple housing tracks that he did in Las Vegas where he designed for more low income housing there. He did an original racetrack that used to be in Las Vegas. So he did a lot of design work outside of that. And another thing that he is very well known for, he got to know Danny Thomas over the years. And Danny Thomas asked him to design the initial buildings of the St. Jude Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee. So once again, pictures over in the show notes, but he had a classic kind of very modern kind of hub and spoke kind of design to that hospital. And he and Danny Thomas became very close over the years. He passed away in 1980. And his funeral was held, and service was held right in the AME Church here in Los Angeles that he designed. And Danny Thomas actually gave one of the eulogies at his funeral. It was I hate to say star-studded event, but I mean it was a big deal. He was really paid homage at his service at the AME Church.
He had to be what, 86 or so? Did
you say well, a little older than 80. Yeah, 80, yeah.
No, longer. No,
yeah, right about that. So, anyway. but what a career from this guy. And like I said, people that are listening might know who this person is. He was new to me, but very familiar with his work. And it was exciting to find that. So I hope you got some insights into one of the architects that it really formed a lot of what Hollywood looks like today. Go over to our show notes over wbnopodcast.com. Check out the links that I have there. Watch the video. And remember, everyone, you can do whatever the hell you want to do, right? Sometimes you need to do a little wandering to get to that point, and but you can do it. So get out there, get up, and get out, and make it happen. I think that's the key.
Just do it.
That's right.